Sivungesi Productions, saying welcome to the Mother City Comedy Festival, another proud Sivungesi production. There are so many different styles of comedy at this festival, and I'd like to encourage you to come see more than just one production. Come see 3, 4, or even 5. Sivungesi has a lifestyle to maintain. Now, as with all Sivungesi productions, we ask you to switch off your cell phones, and I remind you that Sivungesi productions may not be recorded. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this awesome Sivungesi production, in association with Tailor-Made Productions, but mainly Sivungesi.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and make some noise for your opening act tonight, Jared Bday.
What is up, Baxter? How are you guys doing tonight? You guys good? Yeah. Cool, man. It's an honor to be here to open up for my good friend Altaaf. It's good to be here, man. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Jared. Yeah, I don't really like that name either. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like me. You know what I mean? Jared sounds like that white guy that took up DJing but rather decided to be a bodybuilder. You know what I mean? It's a douchey name. It's a douchebag name. I kind of wish when I was born, I kind of wish my Indian parents thought about it. You know? I kind of wish they gave me what you would call a culturally appropriate name. See? I'll explain. This is my dad's name. My dad's birth name is Sadasivan. Sadasivan! That's a strong Indian name. Do you know what I mean? Like Sadasivan sounds like that Indian guy from KFC head office that came up with the idea for masala chicken. You know what I mean? That's an Indian name. My mom's name is Soma Gandhi. She has Gandhi in her name. Do you know what I mean? It's Indian. And then I was born, and they decided to call me Jared! How embarrassing. But I figured it out, right? I figured it out. Because if you spell my name, right, it's spelled Jaryd, right? So if you spell my name backwards, it spells Dheeraj. Thank you, that's all I have left now. When I'm not doing stand-up, I'm usually emceeing at events. None of you guys ever go to an event with an MC, right? But it's weird, you always hear the MC's voice before you see who's behind the microphone. I'm very insecure about the sound of my voice, man. I went to a Model C school, should mess me up for life. I don't know what it is, man. It's a weird thing to make money off of it though, because whenever I'm behind the microphone making announcements, you know, I'll feel this presence right over here, you know, and I can tell it's usually an older white lady. I can smell the cats, and she usually says something to me along the lines of, "Oh my word, that's amazing! Wow! Oh my word, you're so talented! Oh my word, where did you learn to speak like that?" I don't mean any offense. It's just that what part of Sri Lanka are you from? And my microphone's usually off at that point, and I say to her,
"You know what, man? This microphone is a magical thing. It's a magical microphone. Watch. Good evening and welcome to the comedy show."
A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's show, Finding Archie with Altaaf. You guys just gave me a round of applause for my accent. Thank you. That's cool, man. I don't know if you guys can tell, man, but I'm going through this identity crisis right now, you know, and I can tell, I remember when it all started, this identity crisis, you know. When I was a child, my parents wanted me to grow up with as much culture that a young Indian boy could have. So when I was a kid, we moved to a very cultural place. You might have heard of it. It's called Durbanville. Durbanville, Hills and Racism. My parents sent me to an Afrikaans primary school. Do you know what that's like when you look like me? I thought Emo Adams was my dad for years. I didn't know. Such a weird place to be, man. But I also went to a fairly Afrikaans high school, man. And my high school was so Afrikaans, right? In life orientation, life sciences, right? They taught us, instead of physics, they taught us how to lang arunsoki dance. What? And it's weird, like I'm not good at a lot of things. I'm not a very talented guy, but if there's one thing I can do well, it's Lang Adam Soki. I'm amazing at the Lang Adam Soki. You should have seen me, man. I tore that dance floor up like the new season of Noot for Noot. You don't understand. I was so good at the Soki. And then school ended and I didn't have a platform to work this talent I had, you know? So after school, I found myself wandering the streets of Stellenbosch in the hunt for a Soki. I was completely unaware of the racial tension in Stellenbosch, but I came across a place called Catwalk, right? In Catwalk, some of you guys know. Fantastic. In Catwalk, on the top level, there's 2 floors. The top floor is just Lang Adam Soki treffers. I got so excited, man. I went up to the top floor. I got some liquid courage in me and started asking around. I said, hi, my name's Jared. I don't want any trouble, but I'm amazing at the Lang Adam Soki. Would you like to dance with me? And then she said, Noror, which is a lot worse than just saying no, white ladies. I don't know why you have to drag that out. This is a lot of rejection. Noror, it hurts. It just hurts a little bit more. But I didn't let that get me down, man. I asked every girl in Catwalk if they wanted to dance with me, and none of them wanted to touch me, man. None of them wanted to dance. And my heart was broken at that point, but I noticed a new group of girls walk into the room, and I said, tonight's the night, I've got to try this. I went up to them and said, hi, it's been a long night. My name's Jared. I'm amazing at the Lang Adam Soki. Do you want to dance with me? And she said, you don't belong here, go home. Man, that broke my heart, hurt my feelings. I said, let's leave this place. I left, man. I left Catwalk. And as I left, I wanted to take one last look at rejection. So I could remember this moment, you know? And I turned around, and that's when I read the sign. It said, ladies' night only. Turns out I didn't belong there. This has been a lot of fun, man. My name is Jared Bday. Thank you for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment we've all been waiting for. Please put your hands together and make some noise for Mr. Altaaf. Say yes!
Give it up one more time for your opening up, Mr. Jared Bday. Yeah. So, as most of you know, my name is Altaaf said, but I want to do the polite thing, right? I want to introduce to everybody here my crutches. Because it's going to be my supporting act tonight. And it's crazy. And together we are Archie. And Archie is basically a nickname that I got about 7 years ago, 8, 9 years ago when I was up in Joburg. I was working. And the craziest part about how I got this nickname, I was working. A client, the head client, was walking out with the MD. And he goes to the MD, yo man, don't you know Archie? Obviously the MD knows who I am. He looks at me, he looks at the client and goes, don't you mean Altaaf? And then the client goes, yes, Archie. And that's basically how it started. And obviously I was in Joburg, so I'm Cape Town born and bred, spent some time in Joburg. And the craziest part about that is that I left Cape Town a different person to the Altaaf that came back. Right? So when I come back in Cape Town and people don't know me, and then they look at me and they always come at me with this question, yo Altaaf, if you look like this, what happened to the other guy? I always get it. I get it a lot, right? I get it so much that I decided to mess with people. Because now I go, if you're asking me if I look like this, what happened to the other guy, I'm the bearer of bad news because I'm the other guy. And then I go, yo man, I was actually attacked by a shark. So for those that don't know, I was actually attacked by a shark. I was actually south surfing in Muizenberg one day, and I was surfing and I looked back and I saw a shark. And if there's any surfers out there who can confirm that what they teach you when you learn how to surf is that you gotta somehow hit the shark in the thing. So I'm on the board, right? I see the shark. In a moment of chaos and pandemonium, what do? Take my crutch and I fuck the shark up. Dude, that shark, guys. It took me a while, but I eventually swam back to shore. I don't know why you guys are laughing. It's a true story because I was attacked by a loan shark. The craziest part about that is that I actually always wanted to be a ninja when I grew up. No, for real, and obviously I can't. But after that incident, they're now calling me the crouching tiger. No, man, that's just jokes. Give me a second. Oh yeah, so the actual truth about all of this, guys, is that about like 7 years ago, I was diagnosed, right? It was quite crazy. I was diagnosed with a very rare, degenerative neurological disease. I know it sounds crazy, right? But it's okay, because it's just a scientific reason why I tell lame jokes. No, for real, man. I tell so many lame jokes. People in Afrikaans call me a alumni. But I mean, it's been like 7 years, guys. It's been 7 years. And what's somebody gonna do in 7 years? You're gonna get good at telling lame jokes. So now they don't call me that. Now they call me the alumni of being alumni. Except this one friend, right? I have this one friend that I tell all my lame jokes to, right? I tell him all my lame jokes, and he doesn't actually call me that. Because you know what he calls me? He calls me a malnai. But I mean, he's dyslexic, man. So. I know. But for those that don't actually speak Afrikaans, what actually happened was that when I was born, my X chromosome muted. So I'm an X-Man. I'm an X-Man because I'm a mutant and I have a superpower. Just like Wolverine has the claws, Cyclops has the eyes, Altaaf has disabled parking. I don't know about you guys, but wherever I'm going, I'm parking right for fuck outside. Yeah, but being in crutches is crazy. Why? Because you always land up in crazy situations, weird situations. Like, I was at a wedding like a month ago. And I was walking into the wedding, and then obviously everybody comes to greet me. A guy in crutches, with handshakes. As if I don't need my hands, it's crazy. Anyways, I'm walking in, I eventually about to walk in, and then suddenly somebody holds my crutch back. I'm like, what? I turn around and there's this uncle. This uncle looks at me and he says, thank God I caught you. Then the uncle goes, thank God I caught you. Can't you give me a quote for a double-story house? I'm at a wedding. Now here's the thing, I get it a lot. People always look at me and assume the craziest things and build up these preconceived ideas, right? This one time, I was going to a job interview, dressed in a suit. I was catching an Uber. As I get into the Uber driver looks at me and he goes, bruh, don't you do mixed martial arts? I'm like, bruh, I'm in crutches. I don't even do single martial arts. But why are you asking? He looks at me, smiles, he's like, nah man, it's because you're wearing a Muay Thai. So now I look at this guy, and I look at him and I'm like, sir, Mr. Uber driver, do you like sneakers? Or you like a sneakerhead? Right? And he goes, no, why? And I'm like, no, because you just came across very tacky. I don't know, like, a lot of people don't like talking to the Uber drivers, and even though this guy conversed a lot, I gave him 4 stars. I mean, he was tacky to begin with, Anyways, now I'm at the wedding, and this uncle's like, can't you give me a quote for a double-story house? And then I look at this uncle and I'm like, uncle, I'm not in construction. The uncle looks at me, confused. He's like, yeah, but if you're not in construction, why are you carrying around scaffolding? Yeah, I honestly thought he was a drunk uncle, but then I was like, I'm not a Muslim wedding him. And then I wondered, do us as Muslims, like I'm Muslim, right? Do Muslim people have drunk uncles? No, dude, but I asked the question and I realized that we don't. Muslim people don't have drunk uncles. Why? Because alcohol is haram. Alcohol is haram. Our uncles do drugs. It's funny because it's true, guys. It's funny because it's true. But speaking about that, do you guys know that weed and cannabis is now no longer considered a drug? It's now legal to use at home, right? But they still haven't solved the law for using and smoking weed and cannabis while driving. That's why in South Africa we have so many potholes. But I mean, yo, everybody's using cannabis. Everybody's using cannabis these days. Why? It's curing cancer. It's helping so many kids with epilepsy. Everybody's using it. Even those aunties who used to have arthritis, no? Those same arthritis aunties who used to throw Avon parties, no? Those same aunties don't have arthritis now. Why? Because they're throwing high teas. And then obviously this is going to be the one auntie cucking the other auntie out. No, Farida, I didn't say 2 puff pastry, I said 2 puff paws. So anyways, now I'm at the wedding, right? I'm at the wedding and I'm chilling with my dad and my family and whatever. And my dad looks at me and he goes, yo man, Altaaf, what do you want to do for your birthday? What do you want to do for my birthday? It's also my birthday today, guys. So I answer my dad and I'm like, you know what, for my birthday, I really actually want to go parachuting. I really want to go parachuting somewhere with my crutches. It's freaking extreme, right? You agree, like parachute, it's exciting. And then my dad got very upset with me. He's like, Altaaf, you need to respect other disabled people. And you know what, some people struggle to laugh at that joke. As a lot of people actually struggle to laugh at like that disabled joke and many other disabled jokes. And then I asked them why. I asked them, why didn't you laugh at my jokes? And then they told me that actually we feel sorry for you. And I'm like, yo, you choose a really cuck moment to feel sorry for that. You know? And there's, you know, you shouldn't actually feel sorry for me, right? And there's good reason to not feel sorry for me. Reason number 1, I get my own toilets. Reason number two to not feel sorry for me, I get my own parking spots. Right? Reason number 3, probably the most important reason to not feel sorry for me, ladies and gentlemen, fuck you. And you know what? Sympathy is the wrong thing. Honestly, feeling sorry for sympathy is the wrong thing, because me as a disabled person, we're not looking for your sympathy. We're actually looking for your empathy. Right? We just want your understanding. Right? We just want your understanding to realize that being disabled is not just a physical impairment, because being disabled affects you in every single aspect of your life. Right? And there's 2 ways of dealing with it. There's 2 ways of dealing with it, because 1, it's going to be cut. No, it's cut. To be honest with you, it's cut. But 2, it's also cut funny. It's cut funny. This is my case to you, right? Right? We all know with great power comes great responsibility, right? But with the great power of disabled parking comes responsibility for me not to pee my pants. Because I'll be honest with you, I now suffer from this thing called incontinence. And incontinence is a thing where you can't connect, right? You just, when I need to go, I need to go. I've peed in so many random places. I could start an app to rival Google to show other people safe non-toilet places to be. But then there's moments where there's obviously not a safe place to pee, and then, you just don't make it. Like this one time, I was going to a gig in Grand West, right? I was going there, I was walking from my car to the gig, and shit, I needed to go to the toilet, right? I tried to walk to the toilet, but as I got to the toilet, I didn't make it. I'm like, shit, I need to dry my pants for this gig. Can you imagine a pantsless guy in crutches holding his pants by the air dryer? Cut! Right? But cut funny. Because I also look like the disabled Mr. Bean. I also... Man, it gets better. Because I'm hoping nobody comes in, right? I'm there. Then this one guy comes in. But he comes in and stands to the closest urinal to where I'm standing in the air dryer. Says nothing, it's just an awkward air drying noise. He finished, please, he's gonna leave. He turns back and he's like, bruh, I don't know what trouble you have in your life, man. But the air dryer in the disabled toilet works better. And it's not funny because it actually does. Yeah, guys. But you know what, right? So now I'm at the wedding and whatever, and then my nephew runs up to me. He's scared. He's like, yo, Altaaf, protect me. And I'm like, yo, what's wrong? He's like, no, there's this auntie, and she's scary. And I'm like, what auntie? And he's like, no, the auntie with 6 bedazzles on her doek. I'm like, why is she scary? He's like, no, with the 6 bedazzles on her doek, she looks like Thanos. And then I immediately knew what auntie it was, because the last time she snapped on me and killed half my self-esteem. So you know what, right? That's just people who don't know me. Then there's people who do know me that don't recognize me. Why? Because I've lost a lot of weight. Now, for real, guys, I've lost a lot of weight because when I was younger, I was a fat kid. It's crazy. Yo, man, I was the fat kid in the house eating all the food to a point where my mother had to take the food, hide it, and lock it in a room. Which is when I learned how to steal. Because the truth of it all is, I was like a fat Indian Aladdin. No, I was like a fat Indian Aladdin. But when I went to go steal food, I didn't have a magic carpet, right? So when I went to go steal food, I just used the arrow map. It was a whole new world, guys. It was a whole new world. But I also played rugby. Which is not crazy until you realize that I'm the son of an Indian shop owner. Because we all know Indian people don't play rugby. It automatically made me suspect, man. It made me so suspect to a point where the referee came to me at scrum time. He's like, boy, stop selling sweets. And then obviously, my dad was watching the game, started shouting aggressively to the ref, 50 cents, 50 cents for the sweets. But, I was also playing rugby. I was also playing rugby at a school during the time of 9/11, right? The whole 9/11 thing. But I went to a school where I was the only Muslim person of color playing rugby at that school during 9/11, which is crazy because then I got teased. I got teased so much that they actually called me a terrorist. You know how crazy it is to be called a terrorist by a white person? Because then I must go, yo, I also have Christian friends. But they didn't believe me though. You know, they made me carry around a hymn book. You know those small books? When we carry around, and then my dad made fun of me. He used to always say, yeah, that reminds him of a terrorist dompas. Here's the thing, you gotta understand, my dad's also like an old apartheid struggle veteran. I don't know what he did, I just make fun of him and tell him, what, did you sell sweets to the ANC? But this thing, because it was like being this good one day I didn't know what to do, right? Because the one day, Aladdin was sidestepping on the rugby field, right? And then the coach started shouting, Altaaf, pause! My dad didn't know what to do. He was frantic. He ran up to the coach to hand him my hymn book. But, you know what guys? I don't let the crutches stop me from actually playing sport. Why? Because I still play soccer. Yeah, it's just like 2 weeks ago I had a fight with the ref, man. Why? Because I was playing, I kicked the ball, and then what does the ref do? He blows a foul. He's like, bruh, you can't kick the ball with your crutches. Because that's apparently handball. Anyways, right? So, you know what's one of the craziest things about growing up also? Is that, like, one of the stories, I grew up to and learn how to read through my parents. Why? Because my parents had this weird thing about reading in the toilets. It was weird for me because I struggled to take a piss next to a bookshelf. Okay? And it was crazy because it was different, because when I tried to learn how to read at school, I stuttered. I had this real crazy stuttering problem. And it was crazy because one day, why? Because the teacher went, Altaaf, you must come now read in the class loud. I freaked out so much, I blurted out, ma'am, can't we go to the toilet? So we go down there, we are at the toilet, everybody's getting anxious, Altaaf started reading. Can you imagine 7-year-old Altaaf behind a cubicle? Yo, give me time to take off my pants. Yeah, man. This is the part where I need to remember the next joke. Yeah, I lost weight. Yeah. And because I wasn't Joburg and I came back and I lost the weight, people ask me, yo, Altaaf, how did you lose the weight? And then I'm honest with them. I tell them, yo, it's honestly, the way I lost the weight was the crutches. And everybody is like, yo, how did you lose weight being in crutches? And I tell them, well, you know what? It just takes me longer to get to the kitchen now. Because here's the truth. I was diagnosed 7 years ago, but I've only been in the crutches for 2 years, right? And being disabled is like newly disabled. Because think about it, right? I've only been in the crutches disabled for 2 years, right? I've lived a whole other life. So I had to like learn how to be this totally different thing. And there's so much that you can actually learn from being disabled. Do you know what I've learned? I've learned that disabled people like to go out to drink. No, for real, do you know what the favorite drink of disabled people is? Johnny Walker. But obviously you get disabled people who don't drink like me, right? And do you know what those disabled people drink? Distilled water. They also like eat chips. Disabled people love chips, right? But it depends on the time of the week, because on the weekends, you know what chips they eat? Slap chips. But then during the week, they just want to be posh, then they just eat Lay's. Am I sensing a bit of wokeness here, guys? Are you guys too woke to laugh at these jokes? Because I thought I was woke telling these jokes. Because you know what they say about guys in crutches? They're always trying to take a stand. Now, do you know what's the wokest thing I've ever heard about disability? The wokest thing. Yeah, I was driving in Muizenberg one day and I drove past the disabled bay, right? And I saw the guy who parked in the bay didn't have a disabled sticker. So I did the woke thing. Took my crutches and I took a stand against this guy, right? And I went down to him and I'm like, dude, you cannot park in a disabled bay without a disabled sticker. right? I mean, fuck, it's my superpower, you know? Then this bruh looked at me standing in front of me with crutches and replied in the wokest statement I've ever heard in my life. Oh my God. He looks at me and he goes, bruh, you can't use your disability as an advantage. Which is a messed up thing to say, right? It's even more messed up coming from a bruh in a wheelchair. Because here's the truth, man. Nobody knows how to deal with disability. Nobody knows how to deal with it, right? I feel it every day. Because this one day, right, I was going to the shop to buy a packet of chips, a packet of Lays, right? So I go into the shop, I get the Lays, I hand over the money and the thing. The woman behind the counter gives me back the chips with a plastic knife and fork. I look at her and I'm like, ma'am, I'm disabled, not an idiot. Which is when she leaned in and said, sorry sir, we ran out of spoons. Which is when the comedian came out of me and I told her, don't worry ma'am, I have chopsticks. Because, yo man, listen, I also don't know how to deal with disability, right? I'm new to this stuff, right? I don't know how to deal with it. Why? Because this one day, I was doing my shopping, right? I was in Pick and Pay, me, my crutches and my trolley, you know? I was in the cleaning aisle. I was grabbing some handy. I look back, I'm like, shit, my trolley is in the way of a guy in a wheelchair. How messed up. A disabled guy inconveniencing another disabled guy. I thought this guy would understand, right? I'm like, yo man, I'm sorry. What does this guy do? He gives me a dirty look in the cleaning aisle. And then he just rolls on by, right? He just rolls on by. So now I'm carrying on with my shopping. I'm in the next aisle, right? I see the same guy in the wheelchair, right? The same guy in the wheelchair staring at the top shelf. Staring at the self-raising flower. So now, I must obviously know this guy needs some help. So I go over him. I tap him on the shoulder with my crutch. I'm like, yo, bruh, don't you need a hand? Can I help you? Can I give you a hand? And he's like, yeah, thank you very much. And what do? I start the slow clap. And he goes, fuck that guy. And I've thought about this a lot. And this is my conclusion. I think that everybody, including myself, doesn't know how to deal with disability. Why? Because of pirate movies. And not the one you bought at the Pakistani, not that one. I'm talking about like swashbuckling pirate movies. Why? Because pirates are always portrayed to be evil and dangerous, right? But pirates are also portrayed to have a wooden leg or an iron hand. So pirates are just old school disabled people. But you know, modern pirates obviously just found the disabled bay. We found disabled bay. Anyway, man. So I don't shop. So like I shop at Pick and Pay now, but like previously I used to shop at Fruit and Veg, right? Except after this one day something really weird happened. Because again, it was me, my crutches, and my trolley, right? We turned into the veg aisle at Fruit and Veg, right? And I look down the aisle and I see two guys fighting over carrots. I was shocked, right? I look over to the guy packing the potatoes and I'm like, bruh, what's going on here? He's like, with a straight face, don't worry, sir, it's just a Mortal Kombat. Don't shop there anymore, guys. Don't shop there anymore. But you know, I was talking about the favorite trips of disabled people. And obviously came to that conclusion after vast research about disabled people. But my research also now includes single mothers. My research includes single mothers because I found out what the favorite trips of single mothers are. Nobody know? The favorite trips of single mothers is ghost pops. So True. Do you guys know when they first made Ghost Pops? You guys know when they first made Ghost Pops? They first made Ghost Pops when Simba's dad died in The Lion King. Oh, I'm sorry, does that joke scar you? But you know what the truth is? That I like shopping, but I can't do shopping in crutches now because yes, I was diagnosed 7 years ago. I also have a degenerative neurological disease, right? So my shopping ability in crutches is getting to a halt. So I thought, you know what, Altaaf, you need to pump your ride. You need to get one of those scooters with a granny basket. You guys know that, right? I thought it would be cool, right? So what does Altaaf decide to do? Cool, he's gonna go get one. He goes down to this medical warehouse that sells crutches, whatever. I walk in there, right? It's a showroom, which is crazy because honestly, it just felt like I walked into a jungle gym for disabled people. And then I eventually find like a salesperson. And I'm like, yo man, how much is a mobility scooter? This guy looks at me, he's like, sir, the cheapest mobility scooter is 42,000 rand. 42,000 rand. I immediately lost my balance. I was falling to the floor. Luckily there was stuff to hold on to. The guy's like, sir, what's wrong? And I'm like, 42,000 rand. I now feel disabled. Because 42,000 rand sounds like you're charging an arm and a leg. And I don't know if you know, I don't have good legs, my guy, and I kind of need my arms. So I eventually left that place. But what people also don't know about Archie is that Archie was also married, which is crazy. Archie getting married is a critical point to how I ended up in stand-up comedy. Because why? Here's the first thing, right? Many of you guys, well, my understanding of marriage is this. Marriage is like a test of love, right? Marriage is a test of love. Why? Because you get married, you write the test, and then there's that period for you to wait for your results, man. Which is basically just like the honeymoon. That's just the honeymoon. And some people don't get good results after the honeymoon because it's only then that they realize, fuck, is this not multiple choice? Here's the thing. I got married. I was having a tough time, and then I decided, you know what? I'm going to try the stand-up comedy thing. I'm going to try it. I did it, and it was great, right? And as I was walking out of doing comedy for my first time, I was talking to my best friend, and I was like, yo, man, if I ever get divorced, I'm going to do stand-up comedy full-time. The logical conclusion is, Altaaf's doing stand-up comedy, he obviously got divorced, right? But here's the thing, I didn't get divorced because of multiple choice. I got married and divorced because of my love for maths. Yeah. No, for real, because I got married and divorced, right? Because of my love for maths, because I had to solve for X. Guys. But it gets crazier because I actually got married and divorced twice. To the same person. Don't act shocked, right? The reason is because during maths class the teacher said you must always check your answer. Yeah. You know, like when I eventually got divorced, like fully, like finally, I was actually the one that actually moved out of the place that we moved into together. Right? So I was the one that had to move out. And I was actually telling my friend, like, after that, and I was explaining to him, and he got upset. He got really upset. He was like, Altaaf, that's unfair. Why did you move out? Couldn't you just kick her out? Which is when I looked down, right? And then I looked up at him and I'm like, but I thought you knew it's her dad's flat. It's her dad's flat. So, you know, even though the truth is that men are trash, right? Men are trash, I am trash. But I got married and divorced twice, so that makes me biodegradable. I didn't learn a lot through marriage. Well, I learned a lot, but one of the key things I learned is that I always meet people getting married, and I'm like, yo man, here's some advice from somebody who wasn't married that long, but still advice. The thing is, if you ever get into an argument or altercation with your significant other, right, just stop and give them a foot massage. Because that way, you always heal the situation. So yeah, man. So I obviously had to move out. And that's when I moved back home. I moved back home to my parents' place, right? And my parents stay in Rylands, right? For those that don't know what Rylands is Cape Town's version of Durban. Cape Town's version. Because there's a lot of Indian people there. And it was cool staying there because you learned a lot about the Indian culture. You learned a lot, like I learned that Indian people call their elder brothers bhai, right? And then I also learned that Indian mothers favor their elder sons, which is when I learned that Indian mothers are biased. And you know what, so like, obviously, like growing up and moving back home, it's obviously a Muslim household, right? Muslim household. And a Muslim household is the most, there is nothing comparable to a Muslim household anywhere across the world. Why? Because when I was growing up, whenever we got visitors at home, we always used tablecloths. We always used tablecloths. And it took me a few years to understand that the reason why we always used tablecloths when visitors came was because we weren't allowed to show our table's legs. Which obviously gave me insecurities about the length of my pants. And I honestly did, but then I just realized, nah man, that's just seamstress. So I moved back home, right? And honestly, I moved back home, and in your parents' house, you get privileges. You get privileges. Like DSTV. Watching DSTV is a privilege, man. So I was chilling at home one night and watching DSTV, but I wasn't watching any channel. I was watching this channel called Via, right? And Via is this Afrikaans channel. It's basically like the ETV of Kykmeer, right? It's the ETV of Kykmeer. So I'm watching, but I'm not watching any program. I'm currently watching a program called Kom Ons Gaan Braai, which is Come Dine With Me in Afrikaans, right? It's a cool program, but the coolest part about this program is that it's entirely sponsored by a bank. A bank, not just any bank, a bank called Finbond, right? An Afrikaans bank. And the ads are crazy, because it's basically just Casper de Vries walking into a branch, speaking Afrikaans, getting kak upset because nobody understands him. Cut scene to Casper de Vries on the phone, happy, smiling, with a tagline. Finbond, van ons praat Afrikaans. It's crazy that when you realize that a bank's entire marketing strategy is that they speak Afrikaans. Is there anybody here willing to give up ATMs, mobile banking, internet banking for Afrikaans? No, right? It's stupid. It's so stupid it made me upset, so upset that I actually decided to go and rob them. No, for real, I wanted to rob Finbond. So I walked down to the Adley Street branch. I walked in there with my tweetalige woordeboek, right? So I walk in there with my tweetalige woordeboek to rob them, right? I walk in there to rob them. I speak Afrikaans, and then I walk out with a loan. I walked out with a loan for 42,000 rand. Because that's the power of Afrikaans, guys. That's the power of Afrikaans. And staying at home also had other interesting events like, yo man, let's be honest, we in South Africa. Are there any people not from South Africa? Why? Where you from? Quickly shout it out. Germany. Yo, how long have you been in Cape Town for?
5 months.
My guy, I don't know if this has happened to you yet, right? But you need to realize that you're in South Africa now. So, A, you either gonna be robbed, or you've already been robbed. And then there's also times where you are the robber. Depends on your mood, right? Depends on your mood. And you know what? I've actually been robbed in every major city in South Africa. Like seriously, Cape Town, Durban, Joburg, I've been robbed. But there's the thing, I was robbed again. I was robbed again recently at home while taking a cut. I'll say it again for you. I was robbed at home while sitting on the toilet taking a shit. Being robbed is one thing, taking a shit is one of the most humanly vulnerable moments there is out there. So anyways, these guys break into the toilet. I connect. I had to, I connect. Then they take me to the room. The one guy starts tying my hands. And I do what anybody here being robbed would do. I'm like, yo man, take whatever you want. You know, just leave me alone, I'm disabled. Which is when the bra robbing me looks at me, he's like, don't worry, I'm a nice guy, I'm just unemployed. I look at him and I'm like, oh, it's nice to know that there's a nice guy tying my hands, robbing me right now. And he's like, oh, you think you're funny? And I'm like, bruh, I'm a comedian. But then I did the most comedian thing ever, right? Because then I told the guy robbing me a Paulsmore prison joke. Because then I was like, bruh, do you know Paulsmore prison? Because do you know what they serve prisoners food on in Paulsmore prison? Number plates. Which is when the guy robbing me took more rope to tie my legs. To tie the disabled guys busy robbing. I'm like, yo bruh, I'm disabled, I'm not even going anywhere. Why tying my legs? And he goes, nah, after that joke, I don't trust you. And I'm like, oh, it's nice to know that the guy robbing me doesn't trust the guy robbing. So now this guy is busy tying my legs, right? He's tying my legs, and I look at him and I'm like, bruh, I know you're unemployed, but do you do mixed martial arts? He goes, what? No, why? And I'm like, nah, you're tying my legs, and that's a Muay Thai. Which is when you rob the fuck out of me. You rob the fuck out of me. Staying at home also gave me another interesting event in my life. I also ended up in court. Yeah, I ended up in court. Why? I was charged with malicious damage to property. I know, the guy who looks like he's going through his own personal damage to property was charged. Here's the story. There was this business. They owed me money. It took a while to get it. I got super hatful, right? But super hatful was like 6 months. I was waiting for the shit. Anybody would get hatful. But me, Altaaf, what did Altaaf do? Altaaf went down to their premises, and on the front door of their premises, I spray painted, I want my money back, your puss. I even left them a smiley face. I was nice about it, right? I honestly thought I'd get away with it. I just didn't realize that there was CCTV footage. Do you know how I found out that there was CCTV footage? KG, do you guys know that the SA Police Service has a Facebook account? Because the SAPs uploaded the CCTV footage to Facebook. And Facebook tagged me. SAPs still had the audacity to hashtag it malname. Have you ever seen disabled guy in crutches spray painting? It's kind of funny. But then, so the police came after me, right? They came after me. And the craziest part about when the police came after me is that they didn't handcuff me. They handcuffed my crutches. So they take me down. Anyways, it was crazy because, I explained the whole thing to them. And it was funny because they said, you don't even look malicious. Maybe a tad bit suspicious. And then I went on to tell them that I was actually a comedian. And they thought it was a hoax because they told me, yo, Altaaf, your spray painting is funnier than your jokes. But like going to court is crazy because I'm happy to report for the other people who are in wheelchairs, the holding cells are actually disabled friendly. Anyway, so now I must go up and face the judge. She calls me up, I get to the stand, and she goes, "Yo, Altaaf, you've been charged. Why are you catching on so much nonsense?" When I looked at her and I told her, "Ma'am, I'm a nice guy. I'm just unemployed." It's so funny. And she dropped the charges. She actually dropped the charges. You know, man. So like, yeah, moving back home is like after moving out is the craziest thing. Because who remembers that like the things, the telltale signs your parents or your mother used to do when you pissed them off or did something wrong, right? Like our mothers always just like, you know, gave us a failed take, a dirty look, or they shouted our names out loud, or they threw us with a knife. Just my mother? It's crazy because like my mom used to do that when I stayed there in the beginning, but ever since I got married and moved out and moved back home, she doesn't do that when she's pissed off at me now. Do you know what she does when she's pissed off at me now? She grabs my crutches. It's crazy because the one day, like, after being robbed and caught and I'm chilling at home, taking it easy, my mom comes in, right? She grabs my crutches. She grabs it, right? But she one-ups me. She started to point it at me. And then my mom goes, "Yo, Altaaf." Okay, she didn't say yo, but she went, "Yo, Altaaf, what are you doing with your life, right? What are you doing with your life? Because out there are other people winning gold at the Paralympics." Which is when I went, "Yo, mom, actually my ambitions in life is better than that." She goes, "Yeah, what's better than that? What's better than winning gold at the Paralympics?" And I'm like, "Mom, walking!" What do you expect me to do? Shoot my girlfriend and go to jail? And then she quirks off, "Yeah, you must want to go parachuting." It's funny. I actually told that joke to a friend of mine, right? And then, 2 days later, well, actually he told his mom and his sister. And then 2 days later, right, they end up at the airport, right? But who do they see? They see the Pakistani Paralympic team. And then his sister goes, "Yo man, if Altaaf ever told them that joke, would they laugh?" And then his mom starts freaking out. She's like, "Oh my God, I never knew Altaaf was Pakistani." I hope, honestly, that I never forgot any joke for this show tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because before the show ends, I think I need to leave you guys on one last joke, right? And here's the joke, because, whoa, I need to go around this thing. Cool. Alright, here we go. Everybody can see the stool, right? Let me take something out of my pocket. Cool. What do we have here? Box of cigarettes, right? You all see the box of cigarettes? And we all know what country that is, right? We all know, if you don't know, that as a country is Pakistan. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is a Pakistani. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end, because next time you see me, you see my crutches, you should know that you have found Archie. A huge shout out to everybody that actually came through today. I do appreciate it. At the end of the day, everybody that's sitting here, you guys are actually my supporting act. You guys are really proud of me. One last thing. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. I'm Altaaf, say it. Thank you very much.